Hello again, it's Chad Broshears with Ascending to Total Maturity and Go Figure Holistic Personal Training. Today I'm going to talk to you about some predictable irrationalities. So we're irrational beings, and we can be predictable with that. So today is about social and economical norms. So what's the difference? Well, first off, this is an irrational perspective, or this is a perspective of irrationality. We'll say that. And say that somebody offers to pay you, let's say $5 to help them move a sofa, and you're like, well, I'm not going to do it for $5. It doesn't seem like it's worth your time. Now, say that same person asks you to do them a favor by helping them move their sofa. You are more likely to do that than you are to accept the $5 and help them move their sofa. This is not an uncommon event. I know I've even fallen into this, where people are like, hey, can you give me a hand? I'll pay you this. And I've even been in the position where I tell people, you know what, keep your money, I'll do it as a favor. Which is, the reality is, I'm still doing a favor regardless, and I'm not doing them any more of a favor by giving them or telling them to keep their money. I'm actually kind of denying them the opportunity to feel like they've contributed to me. So with that, we'll say it's a pretty good idea to allow people to contribute when they want to contribute. But if you're going to do a favor for somebody and they offer you money, may as well get a bonus. Why not? You could always look at it that way. So if somebody offers you half of whatever you think it's worth, ask yourself, after saying no to yourself, before you say no to them, ask yourself, would I do that as a favor for this person without money being exchanged at all? And then accept the bonus. Why not? It's there was an interesting study that was done with AARP, which is the benefits for retirees. And the founder of AARP had reached out to some attorneys to ask them if they would offer services to their clientele for $30 an hour. And every attorney said no, that they've asked. And then he came up with this brilliant idea, and he went back and he asked the attorneys if they would contribute for free, volunteer their time, and he had an overwhelming response of yes. So we do have some predictable irrationalities. Another example is between the social and economic norms. The social norm is like doing people favors, kind of helping out, whatever, just volunteerism. And then the economical norm would be the one that's, it's a business structured thing. It's if you're being paid one thing, and then you find out somebody around you is being paid more than you to do the same thing, your job performance is likely going to reduce, because you're involuntarily or subconsciously or consciously reducing your effort to match your pay scale. But before you knew about that, you kept up to par with your performance base. Which is, to me, that's a fascinating concept, because it's one that I've also experienced myself in my younger years. But here's something to consider for the men and women out there that may or may not watch this, which you'll likely watch it if you're going to hear this. So if you're on a date, a man's job on a date is to try to stay in the social norm. But the economical norm comes into play the more dates he goes on without actually having the connection that's desired in the social norm. So then the economical norm starts to become more prevalent, and it's brought to attention. Now, whenever I say that the social norm is just like dating, it's not prostitution, it's dating. You're volunteering your time with another person. Whenever you're in the social or the economical form, that would be like prostitution in a sense. Like there's no expectation for long-term love with that. It's that instant gratification and that instant touch. And the other side is the idea, the social norm would be the idea of long-term love or long-term relationship or whatever that may be. So if you're on a date, and say for a guy who's on a date, it's well, for both parties, if they go on the third date, the guy's most likely starting to notice the tab. Now, there's a lot of things behind it that I'm not going to go into right now, and I easily could, but I don't want to put that kind of time on the camera right now. Plus, I don't want to disengage just because of a total time at the end of the video, why people shouldn't watch it versus why they should. But I can tell you that there's a lot more going on called, premeditated concepts. What they anticipate a result being, that kind of stuff. But still, this is the common for the experiment. Now, these things are coming out of some of my life experiences, but also from a book that I've been reading called, wait for it, Predictably Irrational. It's a nice little book. I think the man has beautiful insight. So back to the conversation about men and women on dates. On the third or fourth date, I think it was third date, the guy's usually figured out a total of what's going on and how it's affecting him on the financial side. And the woman's thinking, likely, what a nice gentleman. What a wonderful guy. Now, this is not an every time. This is the general. Guy's thinking, well, there should be some reward for my effort. And the woman's thinking, what a gentleman. Now, could you imagine if you were at that date or a fly on the wall, and the gentleman says to the woman, wow, we've been out quite a few times. I've spent quite a bit of money on these dates. So when are we going to have some experiences together? When are we going to hook up? When are we going to, validate my efforts? If you could imagine how that would come across to a woman, hearing that you're no longer social, now you're in the economical model, which means that you've just been proposed to as a prostitute versus a potential girlfriend. So there's that exchange property that takes place. Now, we don't do that purposely as if we're just wired to be jerks. It's kind of the economical influence we have on us. And women also have an economical influence they have on themselves as well, but that's a different different perspective. But with this is just a concept or a offering of how irrational we can be and how predictable that irrationality can be. So I think the man chose a wonderful topic and title for his book, because that's awesome. But we are extremely predictably irrational. So I hope this video has been of value, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Enjoy.